Welcome back to Lesson 12 in the Tin Man Project. In this lesson we're going to be finishing up the hand and moving the pivot points and copying it over. Before we do that, I want to just kind of come back in here and check in to some of our groups and look at how things are being named. And we copied a lot of things over from different areas and moved them around, and I want to make sure that they're named properly before we kind of finish up here and copy it over. Inside the hand group, I think I had you guys drag a marquee over it, so that didn't actually grab each of the main groups. You probably have some empty shells sitting out here with the index finger and whatnot. If you didn't group it in the very end, then you won't have to redo this step here. You'll just pick the groups, including the thumb group and the palm, and hit Control-G on the keyboard to group those together. However, if you had already done that in the last one and saved over that, you might want to go back in each one of these and regroup them of the fingers, and also rename them. I'll show you how they were renamed, and where they were, we copy this over from the wrist, and so each of those is wrist with a number after it. Go ahead and change those to joint 1 and joint 2. The pole is fine, it can just stay as pole. This rivet is a knuckle, and you can just leave these as P cubes, that's fine, and that pole is also fine. And then just select all of those, Control-G, group them back up again. That's actually the thumb. So each one of those should have that similar type of naming. You can just leave those as the P cubes. The knuckle, you don't really need a number after that. And the two joints, changing those over from the wrist. Alright, group those all together, and that'll be underneath the hand group now. Inside the hand group, we've got all of these, but we should also have this other piece that we copied over. It's in the lower arm group, but it really should be part of the hand group. So that's pole 13 in my case, so I'm going to click that and drag it down to the hand group. So now it's part of that. It's in the right position. And something I noticed that we didn't do, that we've kind of been doing in the other things, creating this sort of recessed area here. We have not done that over here, so that might be something that you want to just go ahead and do. You can do that real quickly under Edit Mesh, the Offset Edge Loop tool. You just click and drag that a little bit wider than our poles here, and grab the faces. What I might do is just drag a marquee over this, get all the faces that I need. So that went all the way around, and then deselect the couple that I don't need. I don't think we need it to go all the way around to the top, but it should look something like that. And just make sure, I've got a couple more over here to deselect. Let's just drag a marquee over that. Okay, and let's hit Extrude on the keyboard, push that in Z, like so, and just come back here and drop in our two edge loops that we've been doing, one down at the base and one up here near the top edge. And just come back out of that, Q on the keyboard, and if you hit 3, it should look pretty much like everything else. Alright, so we've got that done, and everything else looks like it's been grouped properly. I just noticed this leg 1, this leg left 1 should be leg right. So let's change that, and let's grab all the groups, lower, upper, and hand group, and group that together with Control-G. Double click on it and call it arm left. Okay, we need to move the pivot points over before we mirror it over. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to grab the lower arm group first. That's kind of that forearm area. And if we hit W on the keyboard, it's been grouped together. We can see that it is down here at the origin. We're going to have to move that, so let's hit Insert on the keyboard, You can see the manipulator has changed. I'm grabbing just the Y manipulator, dragging it up to the top, and then the red one, the X, kind of placing it over here, and we should really do this in our top view. Kind of zooming in very tight here and positioning that right over the center of this piece, and then hitting insert on the keyboard. So that should rotate correctly. We may want to position it in the center there. Let's go ahead and do that just in case we rotate it from that axis. So I'm just hitting insert again and dropping it down to the center here. And we can check it from our front view, see if we're lined up, and insert on the keyboard. Okay, let's do that with the upper arm now. So it's down here at the origin, insert on the keyboard. Let's drag that up and over, and hit F on the keyboard to frame on that. And we'll probably have this pivot somewhere kind of inside this area, right about here. Let's put it right on that kind of crosshair right there, that intersection. Let's come back here and check in our top view. Looks like we are in the center there where we need to be. Okay, so insert on the keyboard to get out of that, and select the hand group. That should be down there. Insert on the keyboard. Let's bring that all the way up and down in X. Let's come to our top view, and we're going to position that. It'll probably rotate right here. We may actually need 2 rotations here. I think if we just center it right here, this will probably work for the hand itself. The hand will rotate around this piece right here and kind of carry this piece with it. We may have to put a separate one on this, but I think this will be okay. We're not going to do any extreme kind of hand positioning for the pose. Maybe just kind of tilt it a little bit, and that should work okay. And if you're wanting to go in there and adjust all of these groups so the fingers can move, you can definitely do that just by inserting and moving them over to each one of the joints. I'm not going to do that here, but if you want to do that, go ahead. And now that we've got that, I'm going to collapse these down. Select the arm. I'm going to delete the history on everything. And under Edit, Duplicate Special, I'm going to open up the option box, reset the settings, and then make sure we're at -1 in scale X, and hit Duplicate. Alright, so we've got our arms now, and we can rename that Arm Right. And make sure we do a Save As now and version up. That was lesson 12, so I'm just going to version up to 12 there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be doing is building the head, and we'll do that in the next lesson. If you made any modifications to your left leg, as I did, I actually modified the foot in this case, and you would like to copy that over or actually group this accordingly to the upper and lower leg and move those pivot points to pose the character's legs, you can go ahead and do that as well. I'm actually going to delete my right leg, go back to the left leg here where I made a modification with the foot. I kind of created that little raised area up there. I'm going to go inside the group. I've got the leg top and bottom here, and I'm going to position the pivot points on there. So this one is actually already in position. I may have already moved that, and I'm going to just check my lower leg here. This needs to be moved still, so I'm just going to hit Insert on the keyboard and pull that up into position here. We should check it from our side view. Make sure we're dead center on that piece. A little bit off. And come back out and check it in the front view. If I hit F on the keyboard, it will frame up on there. And it looks like that is lined up as well, so insert again. And if you want to go inside of that and actually grab the foot, in this case I called it shoe, and I think the post with that, those two right there, you can group those two together and call that foot group. Grab the foot group and hit insert on the keyboard. And I think we just need to lower that pivot down so it's kind of in here where the pole is at, about there. Hit insert again. So that allows us to pivot the foot now, like so. And the knee. Alright, so that is the whole lower leg right there already, and that's how that moves. So it's kind of sliding in that recessed area that we wanted it to do. Okay, just hitting Z to get out of that. And if you want to check the whole leg, the top layer, if you want the whole one to move, this actually needs to be brought up here as well. So let's hit insert on the keyboard again, raise that up, and right now we should go into our side view and just position that around the center of this piece right here. Hit insert again, come out of that. And that way if we want our entire leg to move, we've got the rotation for that. Okay. Alright, so with those few little changes right there, I'm going to go ahead and collapse this group down and come under Duplicate Special. We've still got it set up in -1 in scale X, and I'm just going to duplicate that over so it's got all the correct transforms over there. And the correct pivots. I'm going to call it leg right, and we should be good to go.